Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm Sandra Asher, and I was nominated to the committee by Parents Helping Parents, our local parent training and information center for parents of children of all ages with disabilities. And I will be facilitating our meeting this morning. I would like to officially call to order our meeting at 8:06 a.m. As a reminder, our purpose together is to engage in a community-led process that we believe can lead to meaningful recommendations of reform and alternatives to policing in our community. For those of you needing translation this morning, you can select down on the bottom row, you'll see the world icon. If you are an English speaker, please select the English channel. If you are a Spanish speaker, please select Spanish interpretation. If you are a Spanish speaker needing assistance with translation, please call Lori Valdez at 408-661-1804. Another housekeeping item, for those of you nominated to serve on this committee by an organization, you should have received an invitation from Chris Logan to be a panelist. If you sign in with the email that the invitation was sent to, it should automatically put you as a panelist. If for some reason that didn't happen and you weren't automatically set up as a panelist, please raise your hand to get our attention, and we will promote you. We want to ensure these meetings are accessible. So if you have any other suggestions on how to make this meeting more accessible for those with disabilities or that speak other first languages, please email Chris Logan at christopherl@sacredheartcs.org. In respect for the Native peoples, we will have our land acknowledgement, and we respectfully acknowledge that we host this meeting on the lands of the Mwekna Ohlone people who have stewarded this land through the generations. We commit ourselves to partner with our Indigenous sisters and brothers to celebrate and honor their legacy in our collective work for justice and in our care for these lands that we benefit from today. So this morning, due to some scheduling conflicts, we won't be able to hear from our scheduled Asian American and Pacific Islander community today, but we do plan to hear from them at a future meeting. So without any objection, we'll table the lived experience testimony and presentation. To acknowledge this, please raise your hand if you are on the committee. Great, thank you. That item is tabled. So we'll now move into our subcommittee reports. Kiana, your hand is still raised. Is that just from the acknowledgement, or did you have a question? Okay, thank you. Okay, our first committee, oops, lost our share.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and just kind of explain the process, what we'll be doing today, and then I'll drop in the chat our first recommendation that we'll be reviewing.
Okay, great. So for our first subcommittee report for the Accountability and Reform Committee, we would like to take this time to invite people to give feedback on draft recommendations from this committee for improving public safety in San Jose. This is our first attempt at this, so please bear with us. We may be trying a couple of different approaches to see what works best for the community, and we will be using that to guide additional listening sessions and public feedback sessions later in the month. To begin with, we are going to try giving you each some time to read a recommendation and then open panelist discussion and then public discussion. For our first, and additionally, if you have suggestions on how to make this process better, we are open to hearing that as well. So we're going to play some music, give you about 4 minutes or so to read the first recommendation. Chris has put the link to the recommendation in the chat. Please take a few minutes to read through that, and then we will take committee member comments, then advisory member comments, and then public comments.
All right, give me just 1 second and I'll start our music. If you have any issues accessing the document, please let me know.
In your eyes and I can see you've loved so dangerously. You're not trusting your heart to anyone. You tell me you're gonna play it smart. We're through before we start, but I believe that we've only just begun.
Okay, and we're back. Just as a reminder for our committee members and panelists, advisory members, we did send the link to all of the recommendations as well as a feedback form out to you with the meeting invite for this meeting. But of course, we are open, the steering committee is open to other suggestions on how it would be easiest for you to review the documents. So to begin with, for our committee members, I will open the floor to any comments or questions.
I have a question. Hi, good morning. So the input sessions that we have planned for later in this month, what are those in the context of today?
Yes, so great question. So we will have we will still be holding those later in the month for the other committees, as well as additional recommendations from the Accountability and Reform Subcommittee.
Okay, so today's one opportunity for us to kind of give like first blush thoughts on these proposals. And then there's more opportunity throughout the month leading up to these meetings to give additional input on the proposals.
Yes.
And then there's also contact info on each of the proposal documents, so people could also reach out directly to give feedback.
So we prefer that feedback be given through the Google form that Chris sent out with the meeting invite. Not all of us on the committee have work emails, and so like for myself, I prefer my personal email not to be shared with the public at large and to receive feedback through the form.
Okay, so some of the forms have, okay, got it. So some of the forms that have contact info, it's better to actually use the form, the Google form.
Yeah.
Okay, and just clarification, I think that the agenda was sent out on Monday. Just to kind of like reiterate what Sparky was saying. Not last week, but it was sent out on the 31st, like around 4:30.
Ah, gotcha. Thank you.
So some people, I'm only saying that because some people may not have had a chance to do a deep dive into. Your committee had like an impressive, robust list of
yes, we have like 24 recommendations.
I mean, you guys really killed it. Like you guys had a very impressive list of recommendations, and they were just really exciting to see. So, and I know that your committee gave them lots of thought, but just to be aware that it did go out Monday, so I don't know if people have had a chance to do a deep dive. I will probably be giving some feedback, but I may not be giving it today.
Thanks, Darcy. Appreciate that. Yep. Yeah, and because we had so many, we wanted, and we had our presentation tabled, we wanted to still try and have this time as useful time to maybe get some initial thoughts both on the recommendations and the process for how to gather feedback.
Yeah, and so will you just be going down the list? Is there a way, since people may not have looked through them, can you maybe just give like a synopsis and go down the list since we have the time?
Of all of the recommendations?
Of your committee recommendations?
Our committee recommendations, yeah. Just a highlight of what was submitted.
Yeah, sure. Like maybe if someone could share the screen with the Google form and you could just go through the titles and just from your memory, just give like a little synopsis. That might help people a little. That's just my thought. I don't know what other people think.
Okay, thanks, Darcy.
So just we want me to share a screen so we can do a synopsis of all the accountability forum ones, or just ones we're going over today?
I think Darcy was asking to go through the entire list, so we could highlight.
Just the ones. So Sandra, you're asking for if anyone has feedback on the policies from your committee, right?
Well,
yeah, we had. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Well, just the one we put in the chat. I'll put in the chat again for those who came in.
Oh
late.
yeah, then maybe.
Yeah, so we're going over. We slated about 10 for today, and so I think those are the ones that we'll be going over. I know that Of course, Sandra didn't author all of those. That's why we tried just to be selective in the ones that we'll be going over today so that we can
Awesome.
have people
Yeah, so then
who
maybe
have
just the
comprehensive.
ones, maybe just the ones slated for today.
Yeah. And Mary, thank you so much for bringing that up. I apologize. That was an oversight on my part. I'll be working on making a Spanish recommendation list and sending out today. So thank you for letting us know that.
Tarab, we'll take your question while Chris is queuing up to share screen.
Oh, hi, Traub Ansari here. Been nominated by the Behavioral Health Contractors Association to represent persons struggling with mental health and substance use in the county. I don't really have a question. I just took the chance to read through the recommendations on it, and it's really well thought out and comprehensive one. I really don't have anything critical to say about it. I just wanted to say that I appreciate you putting recommendation number 3, the recertification for CIT officers every 2 years. In my research, I noticed that even the Santa Clara County Civil Grand Jury noted that it was a CIT training was only done once. So this really helps. I just wanted to thank you for that.
Great, thanks for that input, Tarab. Appreciate it. Yeah, that was a point that really struck me as well, that type of training, in order for it to become more robust in muscle memory and really practical of use, needed to be done more than once. And there needed to be refreshers as approaches and learning models change. Okay, Chris, is this the list for today?
Oh yeah, let me get the so this is the order that we'll be going in today. Let's we can hear from Blair Beckerman on his comment.
Okay, great. Blair, sorry, I don't see him. He didn't pop up to the top of my screen.
Hi, Blair Beckerman here. I just read the report. It was really interesting. It's interesting the use of autism and developmental disabilities as a way of training and a way to understand situations. It's important with this good training and ways to be thinking and working that I'm often labeled as autistic or schizophrenic. And those conditions are a state of being based on lack of communication between people a lot of the time. So as we're trying to build these things, I think it really needs to be stressed the importance of openness and good communication between each other. And for the first item, where you want to change police manuals and such, I'm trying to work on the concepts of how we should always be open to changes. And that should be an important concept in growing the future of the police. They need to learn to be open and flexible in when future decision-making happens, and not so regimented within a specific structure. As important as that is, there's a lot to be said for being open to new ideas and new concepts of how to be policing and just how community works in the future, how we make decisions in the future. So thanks for your time.
Great. Thank you, Blair. Okay, so we will quickly go through a synopsis of the 10 recommendations we had slated to discuss this morning. And we just chose 10, thinking we may or may not get through them all, depending on how much comments we had. So the first one, improve training programs to better serve marginalized communities, that you all have read through. So I won't go through that. This next one is move traffic enforcement to the Department of Transportation. So the idea behind this one is based on the fact that people of color are substantially more often, sorry, I need more coffee this morning, are more often pulled over and stopped by the police for minor traffic violations than whites. And this is data to develop this recommendation came from the state RIPA report. And so it is data-based. And so the idea is if we remove that interaction that are low risk and minor into the Department of Transportation, combine it with our Vision Zero project in San Jose. So we're looking at street safety in total as a total package and facilitated by that Vision Zero department within the Department of Transportation. We can both make our city streets safer and reduce unnecessary low-risk interactions between the police and our marginalized communities. And then obviously when it is important, it's a high risk, it's a violent criminal matter, the police would still be responsible for those calls. And then for event security or like out in the streets where you have cops doing traffic duty. Again, the thought is that we really don't need an armed sworn officer for those interactions, that again, those could be managed by the Department of Transportation. The next recommendation is strengthening training officer qualifications. So this is based on looking at the, sorry, I need to pull up my document here. This is based on a need to ensure that we have the most qualified, most skilled members of the department managing our training and developing those future officers. The independent auditor in her recommendations did call out training as a #1 area of need. Many of our trainers have a lot of use of force complaints or citizen complaints. And so we want to make sure that our officers that are doing the training have the highest level of qualifications and that they are also held accountable for the results of their training. So that they are looking at what kind of biases are they implicitly or explicitly communicating through the training program, and really incenting them to be aware of that by looking at what kind of complaints come from the officers that they are trained, that they train. And then if they train exceptional officers, they should be rewarded for that. And if the officers they train come up with those types of complaints, then there should be disciplinary action so that they can improve their training. The next is the implementation of an Office of Investigation, Independent Office of Investigation. And
I can share a little bit on that.
Just can you share on that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was in part some of the things that came out of the Charter Commission, of course. And this is actually something that the mayor sent out. You see in the document, he sent out his plan for police reform some time ago. And so we basically use his language to communicate the need to basically take the investigatory authority and duties and powers outside of the police department itself and have an independent department that will be handling any issues that need further investigation. That way it would have a certain degree of independence, hopefully a little bit more trust between that office and the community and the public. So that's the thought process behind that one.
Thanks, Chris. The next one is a proposal to expand the selection pool of qualified residents for the hiring process. And I would invite Jim Carter to give an overview of that recommendation.
Hey, thank you, Sandra. If I could, do we have that up on the screen? If we can get it up on the screen. Okay, thank you, Chris. Yes, currently the pool of residents is limited to the Volt qualified residents, and those residents must commit to the Volt program. So it's fairly restrictive. And what this proposal really does is it just involves more residents of San Jose in the hiring interview process to assist with evaluating potential candidates and assist with selecting candidates who exhibit the character and qualities the residents want in a police officer. Very straightforward. It just opens up the pool of residents who would be selected to sit on the hiring boards. So.
And Jim, would you mind, I don't know if I missed it, just a brief description of what the Volt qualification looks like?
Yes, well, the Volt program really requires residents to go through a background check, pretty extensive background check, and then also volunteer hours per year to stay qualified in the Volt program. That's the basics of it. It's a little more detailed than that, but it's a pretty extensive volunteer program that requires additional hours over and above what would be required in the hiring process, interview process.
Thank you, Jim. And if you wouldn't mind sharing about the next one, which is the recruitment and hiring proposal.
Certainly. I'll read the recommendation summary. It's just really recruiting officers should prioritize recruiting efforts to concentrate recruitment efforts in San Jose to better reflect the diversity of the community. San Jose Police Department service. The department should focus efforts in communities and neighborhoods where the needs are determined. Asian needs focus efforts in Asian communities, etc. It'd just be better, the community be better served by hiring officers that reflect the diversity of the community. That's the synopsis of it and basic summary of it.
Thank you. The next one on local hiring, I believe that is also yours, Jim.
Yeah, it's basically an extension of the one previously in that prioritize the hiring of more candidates from the San Jose to include incentive pay possibly upon hiring to those living in San Jose. I know several agencies do offer a hiring bonus. San Jose, I believe, does offer a hiring bonus, but I think maybe that in this proposal, what it does, it expands that hiring bonus to further have candidates from the San Jose area receive an additional bonus for living in the San Jose area. The preference or interview points for those candidates who are from the San Jose area should be awarded, and additional monetary compensation, like I said, should be awarded to candidates that reside in the San Jose area. The background just really states that someone who grew up in San Jose has a better idea of what the cultural diversity of San Jose is composed of and can better relate to the residents in San Jose and the areas in San Jose where those areas of diversity reside. So.
Great, thank you. The next one, equity and inclusion, recruitment and hiring strategy report. And sorry, I don't remember who authored that one.
I believe
That was
that's
me. That was me.
Yeah.
Wonderful, thanks, Jamal.
I do what I can. This one is actually very simple. It's just a report that would highlight, that would go to the community to share out the equity gaps and inclusion statistics of the officers on the force. So gender and racial diversity. So it would help for the community to be able to see the makeup of the force, and it would just be a report published regularly that we would be able to have some insight into where the gaps may lie in terms of equity and inclusion. And so I felt like this one is like really easy to do. So and so there's some data there, which is actually public on where the gaps are in terms of ethnicity for over and underrepresentation of officers on the force. And I couldn't find any data on gender or LGBTQ, but that would just be allow us to hold the police department accountable for making sure that they're prioritizing equity. That's all.
Thank you so much. The next is to inject transparency and accountability into the arbitration process over termination and disciplinary decisions.
Yeah, it just occurred to me it might be helpful if I just drop this in the chat one more time. This is the full list of recommendations. I'll put this as a link in our chat, and then we're looking at ACC2. Again, many apologies for not having a Spanish translation, but we'll make sure that that's done by the end of this day. But this recommendation is ACC2 is to inject transparency and accountability into the arbitration over termination and disciplinary decisions. Basically, at this point, there are disciplinary decisions that affects police officers' employment, and how things are run within the police department as far as accountability. The officer does have the ability to appeal to an arbitrator, but at this point, those arbitration decisions and the process that the arbitrator came to, those decisions are not open to the public. And so this will give us another opportunity as a community to review, how our police force is being disciplined, how those decisions are being made, so that we can hold the city and the police department accountable to reflecting the desire of the community when it comes to those decisions. And so this is to inject that transparency, make those open to the public. I included the quote from the mayor that he put into, that was found in the San Jose Spotlight some time ago.
Great, thank you, Chris. And Lori put in the chat, it also talks about who is on the arbitration committee as well. And then the last one for today is community sensitivity training.
Well, it looks like Blair wasn't able to join us today.
Okay, so I believe the purpose of this was to an additional training requirement for all officers to receive some community sensitivity training upon hire. Current officers would also need to take this training within 90 days of adoption, and members of the community who will assist with this training include people from underserved communities, people impacted by police violence, disability service organizations, and youth. The members of the community will share their experiences of how the police have negatively impacted the community as a way for officers to understand their actions and the ways they can approach residents in a more impactful manner. Background and statement of need is police officers are hired with little experience with the communities they serve. For them To perform their duties to the standards of our community, they need to be able to empathize with the residents and understand specific experiences and traumas that impact the community. A strong partnership between SJPD and the community is needed for an effective police reform and keeping officers accountable.
Sandra, I do see Blair Beekman's hand raised. I don't know if that's from before, but want to give him an opportunity to.
Okay, well, first I'd like to see if there are any committee members or advisory members who would like to share a comment, and then or questions, and then we'll get to the public.
Okay.
Yes, Siobhan.
Good morning, Sandra. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So on the first part about the CIT officers and I don't know, I don't have that first one up again. It was long about training on CIT and having officers in the Recruit Academy go through special training with autism, improved training programs to better serve marginalized communities. So one thing that has been perplexing us is that there is a lot of hours devoted to the CIT training, but we don't see anything in the duty manual which explores what happens if an officer doesn't follow that training. And as you know, without something in the duty manual that addresses it, an officer who fails to conform with the training is not subject to discipline. But it's a pretty, it's not an easy subject to tackle. We have been reaching out to other agencies to see how they have moved provisions of CIT training into the duty manual such that discipline may be imposed. But I think it's something you might want to consider and maybe have discussions with the SJPD training office and Chief Mata.
Great, thank you. And we have had discussions with SJPD training to inform, so that's a great item for us to follow up. Thank you. Other questions or feedback from either committee members or our advisory members? Yes, Lori.
For the arbitration process, not only, I mean, they say it's open, but it's not. We need to know who's on this arbitration committee. We can't have police officers or retired police officers policing themselves. That doesn't work. They're never going to be held accountable. We need it to be community members, impacted members, and people from the faith and what other organizations, not have police of any kind on these committees, because it doesn't work, because they're always going to side and they're always going to see no wrong. That's their mentality. So that process, we need to know who's actually on these arbitration committees. Is it the police policing themselves? Because we know it doesn't work, because nobody's ever held accountable. So that's one process, not only being transparent of what happens and stuff, but we need to know who is actually making these decisions. So I want to make sure that that stays out there.
Thank you, Lori.
Oh, I see Mary. Yeah, Mary.
Mary, you may unmute.
Sí, ok. Buenos días. Sí, buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es María Inés Ortega y qué les puedo decir a mi experiencia en todos los puntos que ustedes pusieron en el, ¿cómo se llama? En el documento. Algo que les voy a decir en mi experiencia entre la comunidad. Por años vivo aquí en una zona que es Cadillac, una zona que estamos tratando de mantener nuestra comunidad a salvo. y algo que mi experiencia es que les digo, tenemos que no ser excluidos como habla hispana, es algo que les voy a pedir. Tenemos yo en mi manera, yo puedo entender el documento, pero algo que les voy a pedir, no seamos excluidos, nos sentimos excluidos porque no tenemos el mismo conocimiento al 100% del habla inglés, pero en mi reconocimiento a la policía, en el tiempo que yo llevo, los años que llevo aquí, ya casi 23 años viviendo en este lado, mi experiencia es que si nosotros no pertenecemos a un grupo de la comunidad, no experimentamos lo que se vive en nuestra comunidad, no somos amigos de los oficiales y no le decimos lo que está pasando en nuestras familias, en nuestros jóvenes, nadie sabe realmente cuál es el trabajo de ellos en mi experiencia. Yo aprecio el trabajo de ellos porque son humanos como nosotros. Ellos también tienen que atravesar, no saben la situación que se están enfrentando en el momento que pasan las situaciones. Hay que ser conscientes de que también tanto las personas que cometen el error no saben a lo que se están exponiendo o no saben pedir la ayuda antes de cometer un crimen o exponerse a que sean, como se dice, alcanzado de una bala de un oficial, porque ellos están respondiendo a una emergencia. Cuando a ellos se les habla, no saben cómo está la persona, cómo se encuentra. Nosotros estamos aquí en un lugar de pandillas, en un lugar donde hemos aprendido a ser fuertes. En mi manera de pensar, yo tengo hijos, tengo 3 hijos. Mi hija a los 16 años empezó a estar conmigo en este camino de la comunidad. Amo mi comunidad. Hemos enfrentado obstáculos en mi manera de pensar es el idioma, pero eso no nos impide las barreras de seguir creciendo en nuestra comunidad. Y al hablar con nuestros oficiales, ellos entienden nuestra necesidad y siempre han estado para nosotros. Entiendo que en otras áreas es diferente. Entiendo que a veces la gente no sabe cómo tener esa comunicación con ellos. Tienen que ser parte de una familia para mantenerse unidos. Esa es la clave. Si la comunidad no participa con ellos, no es los ojos, los oídos de los oficiales, ellos no saben la necesidad de cada familia lo que está enfrentando. Eso es un punto bien importante que tienen que analizar antes de tomar una decisión en un documento. Ese punto es bien importante que lo analicen. Y siempre les voy a decir, yo siempre voy a dar puntos positivos por la comunidad, por mi experiencia en años. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Mary. Other committee or advisory members?
Hi, Darcy. So I wanted to circle back to the traffic proposal that you had and just say I really appreciate that proposal. We have a similar proposal in the, not similar, but one along the same subject area in the Prevention Promotion Committee. And after seeing your presentation up, I might suggest to our committee that we adjust ours a little bit, given that you have touched on a little bit of what we didn't know what would be presented or not, or if it would make it into someone's proposal. So we did include also a moving away of traffic enforcement from law enforcement to another area. We didn't specifically call out the Department of Transportation. I think we thought about a CBO strategy around that, but there are some overlaps in some areas where it's complementary. So thank you for that proposal. I have some additional questions around the detail of that proposal and like when the intersection between law enforcement happens, whether like how the Department of Transportation does, if it does, when it does, collaborate with law enforcement. So those are questions I'll probably form and put into the Google form for feedback. But I'll definitely share, Sandra, our policy that we've put together with you, which is really more focused, our policy is focused a lot more on the development of self-enforcing streets and just more investment in like roads and pedestrian safety. So there isn't so much need for enforcement from law enforcement, but I'll send that over to you. I appreciate that proposal.
Great, thanks, Darcy. Tarab.
Hi, what Darcy said just kind of gave me an idea, and I'm not really expecting really an answer right now. But when it comes to the final presentation of the document that we've spoken about, um, I was just wondering if we have these similar recommendations, might it be might there be a way that we present them that they complement each other, like strengthen each other's by the way, like, putting them together or a certain order or something, but these complementary ones, they might be able to kind of bounce off each other and strengthen each other, if they're in one place together. So it's just something to think about.
Great suggestion. Thanks, Trog. Any other members of the committee or advisory committee?
Just one other comment in regards to ACC 20 through 23. Just like a little side note, maybe just that we can be mindful around the current study and community conversation around training and the outcomes and impact of training, like the actual outcome for communities who have been historically and disproportionately harmed by over-policing in their communities, and the disconnect between what the data shows and the continued push for these types of initiatives. So I'm not saying that specifically about yours, but I'm just putting that out there as something for us to be mindful of as we move forward with these, and just the current conversation around these type of proposals and the communities that continue to be harmed.
Great, thank you. Okay, seeing no one else from the committee or advisory committee, we can move to public comment.
Okay, Blair, should be able to
Hi,
unmute.
Blair Beckerman here. I just wanted to I wanted to first thank some previous words by a public commenter from the person from the Cadillac area. I deal with the same questions. How do we better connect people from the community who are understanding what it means to work with community groups and community compared to people who don't? And what are those connections? How do we build those connections? The work I do with accountability for the future of technology is meant for more open democratic practices and the ideas of better communication and understandings, for all people, and a more participatory future of the democratic process and community process. So I'm interested what those connections can be. So thanks for her words. Muchas gracias. I also wanted to quickly ask, I know I'm just public comment time, but if at some point in this meeting that someone can, if it's possible, someone can answer with all the committee reports you just given, what is the current status of public community oversight for the future of SJPD? There was supposed to be some legal languages worked out by the City Charter Commission for a ballot appearance in June about the Public Oversight Committee for SJPD. Has that been pushed back to November? Has that been pushed back further than November? at some point in the meeting, if that could be described, what the current status is of the oversight process, that'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Blair. Any other public comment?
Sandra, if you like, I can share. Oh, looks like we have a public comment from Rita, but I can share a little bit about what I know about the charter recommendations and where they're at right now. But whatever you decide, we can do that. We can move on to Rita.
Yeah, why don't you share that and then we'll hear Rita's comment.
So from what I understand, and there's people on this call who probably know a little bit more and who are more intimately involved than I am. So I invite your comment or corrections if I misspeak. Community oversight for the police department in general. From what I understand, that there are some specific things that the charter commission recommended, such as having an entity have access to unredacted records, having an entity that's not affiliated with the police department have some say in the disciplinary process, hiring, firing, and those things need to happen within the charter. The charter is basically a document. It's like, we like to call it like the constitution of our city. And in order to make changes within the charter, that has to be a ballot measure. And so that's what Blair was speaking to. Right now, it's very unclear where the city council or when the city council will be taking these matters up. I do believe that there's a study session scheduled in a couple months for there to be some further discussion and maybe some information. Sorry, I have background noise. Some further discussion, information shared. And so I will definitely watch the city's website for when those meetings will be scheduled. But there has not, as far as I know, has not been a decision made yet as to whether it will be placed on the June or November or any other future ballots. I do not believe that there's been any public discussion or decisions made.
Thanks, Chris. Poncho, I see your hand up. Do you have an additional comment?
Yeah, I was just going to add to what Chris shared, is that the city council in their action that they took to actually bring one of the matters that came out of the Charter Review Commission, advance one thing to the ballot. The other things are going to be considered in a series of study sessions, like Chris mentioned. There is some discussion because there were so many recommendations that maybe the ones dealing with police oversight and accountability might be split off to a different study session rather than looking at other elements around like voting, expanding voting rights might be its own session, because that's something that the city council took action on, and a number of other provisions that they want to be considered. There are so many that they might want to take up not only all of them together on one study session, including the police oversight ones, or they might want to split up the police oversight ones and combine them with the study session for what we're planning on doing in terms of when we complete a final report from the Reimagining Public Safety Community Advisory Committee. So there are some possibilities there. It's a little unclear, but everyone's expecting us for them to be able to consider all those things, and hopefully they're considered in concert together.
Great, thank you. And we'll move to Rita.
Sí, buenos días. Yo soy Rita, soy residente de Valley Palms, una comunidad acechada por pandillas. Éramos un punto rojo en la ciudad. Afortunadamente se ha ido bajando un poco el nivel de violencia en que hemos vivido. Soy parte de una asociación de vecinos y hemos tenido mucha relación con la policía. Hemos aprendido cómo trabajan, cómo llamar, y no tener miedo a hacer reportes, porque aquí en la comunidad no hay confianza, no hay un acercamiento con la policía, no se sienten cómodos denunciando crímenes. Entonces también eso falta, que la policía se relacione más con ellos, para crear ese vínculo, para que hagan reportes, que sean tomados en cuenta en todos los foros que haya, que haga invitaciones para que uno aprenda a conocerlos, para que uno se sienta con confianza de acudir a ellos, porque pasan muchas cosas en esta área y no son reportadas, ni en asaltos, en robos, bueno, en todo tipo de delitos, ¿verdad? Que se debe de hacer un reporte. Entonces, sí, sí es bueno conocer a los oficiales, crear un vínculo, no de amistad, pero al menos de confianza, que se acerquen a la comunidad, porque nosotros aquí somos 354 departamentos. Entonces, la comunidad viene siendo como 3,000 personas aquí adentro de esta comunidad. Y gracias a Dios estamos trabajando para mejorar esta relación, pero aún así vemos que hay más necesidad de confianza entre nosotros y la policía. Entonces, qué bueno que estamos en este grupo para aprender y también compartir con los vecinos, compartir con los residentes que deben de hacer pues denuncias cuando haya algo que tengan que denunciar, que no nos quedemos con eso, para que también sepa la policía qué está pasando aquí, porque si no reportamos, tampoco ellos van a saber. Y también que nos entiendan nuestra cultura, que somos, pues a lo mejor no somos diferentes, pero a veces no nos identificamos con ellos. Y es todo lo que quería decir. Gracias.
Thank you, Rita. Chris, do we have any other public comment?
No, I don't see any more hands raised.
Okay, great. So I'll do a time check. I'm not sure how much time we had allocated for this. Chris, do we?
Yeah, I think it might be a good idea to have stop share and bring up PowerPoint. It might be the idea to move on to the other items of the agenda.
Okay, great.
Remembering, of course, that we'll, as Darcy and Sandra said, there will be future study sessions so that you'll have more time to give feedback and to look over the recommendations. And so we'll be sending out those meeting times and those agendas shortly, so that you can know when those will be happening.
Great. Oh, and Chris, could you also put the link to the feedback form in the chat?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
So I can't do two things at once here. I'm just trying to do it very quickly. Okay.
Why not? Why not, Chris?
Okay, there's the link, and then here comes the PowerPoint.
Okay, great. Our next item is the steering committee report. At our last meeting, oh, sorry. At our last meeting, Jewel Buchanan from the Neighborhoods Commission asked to be appointed to the Accountability and Reform Subcommittee. So we'd like to consider that today. I am now entertaining motions to appoint Jewel to this subcommittee. Yes, Tarab?
I move to appoint Jewel Buchanan to the Accountability and Reform Commission subcommittee.
Thank you.
Second that.
And Poncho seconds. Okay. All in, sorry, any discussion? Tarab?
Sorry, have to put that down.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? Okay, seeing none. I think we're ready to vote. All in favor, if you are a committee member only, please raise your hand. So raise your virtual hand.
Can I vote for me, Sandra?
I think you can.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris, have you captured that?
Yes, I have.
Okay, lower your hands, please. Any opposed? Please raise your hand. Okay, I see no hands. And any abstains, please raise your hands. I see no abstentions. The motion carries. Okay, I think we already have covered this slide. Additional study sessions will be held later this month for recommendations. As a heads up, the Accountability and Reform Committee will hold a listening session on February 15th to review some of our many additional recommendations, and that will be in the evening at 6 p.m. So now we'll ask the Promotion and Prevention Subcommittee if you have a report.
I guess we can report, I mean, anyone on the committee is welcome to give any comments they have at the time. We have our community input meeting on the 22nd at 6 p.m. And I believe we have 12 proposals that are listed there on the sheet. Thank you.
Thanks, Darcy. And the Alternatives to Safety Response Subcommittee, do you have any report?
Hi, Trub, sorry here. We also have another study session coming up. We currently have, I believe, 3 to 4 recommendations, 2 that are up and 2 that'll be up as well. And so we're looking forward to kind of gathering feedback on those, see what the community has to say.
Great, thank you. Any public comment on our subcommittee reports?
Blair Beckerman, I see your hand is raised. And so, yeah.
Hi. Yeah, Blair Beckerman here. Thank you. It seems an appropriate time to mention the subcommittee process and and this group as a task force as a whole. In the past month, I was writing to the Civic Center TV because since early November, your meetings, these meetings that were normally being placed on YouTube were no longer on YouTube since early November. And so I wrote to Civic Center TV to ask if they could be placed. And he said it's going to take a while. And there was you guys had some dialogue between yourselves and were able to bring out at least 2 of the meetings to place on YouTube. And I just wanted to thank yourselves for that. Just to have, I think I've been learning that, I think there's a difference between a task force and a commission. And I don't know if both of your names are in your title, but I think a task force has a bit more, it doesn't have to fully answer to the community the way a commission process does, I think, is the thinking of it. And, but yet I want to thank you that you took the time and effort to offer at least a few meetings from November until now to kind of give a sense to the community what you're going through and what you're working through. And that's nice. If you keep the public informed at some level, that's helpful. And I hope, I want to learn how to work in those terms with yourselves, because I really want to learn what can be openness and accessibility for the public process. And I'm totally willing to work on how you guys need to work and want to work. And from that, yeah, I think a really interesting, good compromise was reached about the YouTube videos. So thank you for that. And good luck in your work and efforts, and what can be an accessible process as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Blair. Other public comment pertaining to our subcommittee reports? Okay, I see no other public comment. Chris, can we move to the next slide? So now we will move to our open forum, and we will take comments on any topic pertaining to public safety.
Blair, go ahead. See your hand raised. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Blair Beckerman here. Thanks for the meeting today. I wanted to try to offer that I'm pretty interested and excited and hopeful that for as much as the mayor and San Jose city government kind of like went over the deep end about a month and a half ago, or late November, I think, they really want to address the issues of mass looting and smash and grabs. That, I mean, to note, it is a bad, serious problem. But I think there was, if you've noticed, the same sort of law enforcement intensity was also coming down in Oakland and in San Francisco. So it's my feeling that, there was kind of a big federal push going on they really want to address crime issues in the Bay Area at this time. And in San Jose, the tactic was to, bring on more ALPR use and all that stuff. With the 4 and 5G being placed in local neighborhoods at this time, which is a lot, that's also coming with a lot of extra surveillance technology and data collection technology. So, our questions about the future of ALPR use should really be questioned. And to rely on openness and accountable practices and open public policy ideas is really important at this time, because it can really focus, the Vision Zero program and what exactly do we need and what exactly is, responsible practices. And from, the same with Oakland, the same with San Francisco, if you apply things directly you'll find that we really need to be practicing, the ideas of Reimagine and health and human services and racial equity to answer these new law enforcement questions. So good luck to yourselves. I'm sure you're working on this issue with them, and really consider that, don't be fooled that you need more and more technology, or in that as you're working with them, you can compromise and give up and allow them more and more technology. We don't need to push that much more technology. They have a lot already that answers questions for them. And it's just a matter of continuing our good practices, I think. So I was a bit worried when this stuff was happening in November. I'm hopeful that, and they're understanding that. And it's just a matter of continually reminding them of that at this time, I think. So I'm hopeful that we can continue our good course of action and still address, the crime concerns that are important. And to quickly conclude, the VTA reported assaults are down, aggravated assaults are down, and assaults of their drivers are down because they have a higher felony arrests going on last year. Now, do we want to address that? It's a good stopgap measure, but what are our long-term ways to work on these sort of issues? And I just thought I would mention it at this time, and just thanks for your meeting.
Thank you, Blair. Tarab, I saw your hand go up and down, so I'm not sure if you still have a comment.
Actually, yeah, just a short comment. A lot of I was talking to somebody at the county, and I know that the supervisor Ellenberg and has a joint referral on trying to declare mental health and substance use a public health crisis. Just wondering if there's any way we can kind of use that to our advantage. I know there's I know at least there's one more from another committee that talks about mental health. So I was just wondering if there's a way for us to kind of use that as a leverage against the city to say, look, the county's also trying to move in this direction as well. And so it should be a joint effort.
Great, thank you, Tarab. Yes, the county did pass the referral from Supervisors Lee and Ellenberg to declare mental health and substance use disorder a public health crisis. They also passed Supervisor Ellenberg's referral to study and come back in April with alternatives to incarceration. So I think it's great that a great suggestion that we should look to tie our recommendations to the county's efforts. Other comments, public comments? I see Mary's hand.
Sí, soy de nuevo. Nada más quería hacer un comentario. Dar las gracias a los oficiales de San José. En lo particular, me identifico con la señora Rita, que está en otro comité, y mi consejo es, yo estoy muy, de verdad, agradecida en nombre de mi comunidad con la policía de San José. Nuestro vecindario ha mejorado, se ha mantenido más seguro, pero una clave muy, muy importante se me pasó decir: acuérdense, la unión hace la fuerza. Si no nos mantenemos unidos, si no somos una sola familia entre todos y vemos el punto donde es el problema, no estamos haciendo nuestro reporte, no nos unimos en nuestra comunidad, porque esa es la clave. Si nosotros somos los líderes de nuestra comunidad y les enseñamos a ser una sola familia, esto funciona, y esto es lo que nos ha ayudado, siempre con el corazón hacia su comunidad, y esto de verdad estoy muy agradecida. Yo sé que aquí está el jefe de la policía, estoy muy agradecida por ese gran trabajo que ha hecho en nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
Thank you, Mary. Chris, do we have any other hands raised?
I don't believe so. I believe Blair was that hand from before. Okay, I'm not hearing from Blair. No other hands raised.
Okay, great.
Hi, Blair Beckerman here. I already spoke, I guess.
Okay, great.
Hi, I moved to adjourn meeting.
All right, so we will, Chris, do we need to vote on adjournment?
No, we can just adjourn.
Okay, great. So seeing no other public comments, we will adjourn our meeting at 9:22 a.m. Thank you all for your participation.